the song with your heart. Play the song with your heart.
So, things have transpired in the NBA playoffs. Two teams are down 0-3.
Yeah.
The Suns and the Lakers. The Clippers.
Who would have guessed? Almost everybody.
Yeah. The Clippers.
They're falling apart.
They're falling apart. Kawhi Leonard, he came back, but he's still dealing with that inflammation. It was reported. I think I heard that Kawhi Leonard he either is going to be on a limited minutes, or he's just not going to play at all. So this is just going to be the situation for the Clippers. They're in a terrible position because they were grooving that first game, and then you insert Kawhi Leonard, and now they have to figure out the hierarchy of everything. And it seems like they don't have that chemistry in the playoffs to understand, okay, this is person A, this is person B, this is person C. And the odd thing about it all is that James Harden is the best player on their team right now. He's having the best series for the Clippers, which is weird because we expected him to have the worst. But it's actually him who's having the best. Like, he's outperforming Kawhi. He's outperforming Paul George, Norman Powell, Russell Westbrook. He's been the most consistent player, which is not good.
Yeah. No.
That's a bad sign. Like, last night, we're recording this on Saturday, by the way. Last night, they played the Mavericks in Dallas. And Kawhi Leonard, I think he may have had 8 points.
I was watching the draft. I ain't even see that game.
Let me tell you something. Paul George had a stinker. I think matter of fact, let me look at the box score. I think he may have had 7 points. It was bad.
Him and Russ stunk up the joint.
Let me tell you something. Because it wasn't even a close game. Let me see. So, Paul George had 7 points on 3-11 shooting. Kawhi Leonard had 9 points on 4 for 11 shooting. Zubac had 19. James Harden had 21. Terrence Mann, he was a no-show. Norman Powell had 21. So let me get this straight. Your two best players couldn't score 10 points. You're not going to win a series with your two best players only scoring 10 points. This team, I just don't see it. I predicted this before the series started. I said Mavericks at 6. I just thought that the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard's health is going to be a question mark. And I expected Paul George to play better, but I did expect James Harden to play this good. So it's a bit weird how like things sort of go in a different direction than what I predicted. But anywho, they just don't seem like they're all on the same page. And because of that, I look at the Mavericks. They seem like they found something. They found an identity. I love Daniel Gafford. I love Derek Lively. They're very thin, but they are athletic. Yeah. They protect the paint, and they did a really good job this past game. Daniel Gafford, there was a highlight of Daniel Gafford guarding Paul George, locking him up. This is your center. Locking up Paul George. I was absolutely impressed. I didn't think he had it in him. That's how athletic he is. That's how mobile he is. And Derek Lively was just blocking everything. He blocked Paul George's shot. I don't know why Paul George continues to try to get poster dunks. Like, it's not gonna work, bro. Like, you're not in that stage of your career anymore. Like, you don't have to, like, stop trying to go for the contact dunk. Try to draw a foul. Don't try to go for the contact dunk. But Luka is getting whatever he wants. Like, it's just an embarrassing performance.
Kyrie didn't even play good yesterday either.
You know what's crazy?
Shot like 20% from the field.
You know what's crazy though? Like, Luka didn't even shoot the ball well. He was 7-25. He had 22 points. He had a near triple double, he was 3 for 14 from 3-point range. 3 for 14. Kawhi Leonard. Kyrie Irving had 21 points on 8 for 17 shooting. Was 3 for 7 from 3. So they didn't. The duo didn't play particularly well. But because of the Clippers' big two didn't perform well, and guys aren't performing like the bench, they didn't have much from the bench besides Norman Powell. This is what's going to happen. They played really good defense. P.J. Washington, he was tremendous for them. He was playing outstanding defense for them. And I already mentioned Daniel Gafford. When that's the case, I mean, dog, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. And Russell Westbrook Russell Westbrook, man, oh my God. Thank God he's not on my team anymore. He was, matter of fact, what was his box score?
Terrible.
He had like 1
0
point.
0 for 7.
Hey, Russell Westbrook fans, how y'all feeling right now? Like, how y'all feeling? Like, you still feel like, oh, Russell Westbrook in a better situation? 1 point? 1 point. You know what I mean? Like, and then he got ejected from the game because he was so frustrated. He was out there trying to antagonize Luka, and it just didn't bother him at all. So it is only it's not like they're up 3-1, but it just doesn't look good for them. They're on the road. They're playing a Dallas team that has an identity that plays both ways. It's going to be very difficult for the Clippers to bounce back, and I don't know what they're gonna do afterwards if they lose this series. I don't know how they're gonna maneuver because Paul George, he's gonna be up for a contract. I don't know how they're gonna do this.
It might be Jover for them.
Another team I want to go to last night's game, the Bucks and the Pacers. This game came down to the wire. It was a very entertaining game. I remember watching it. Dame got hurt.
Yes.
And one of the
he came back though.
Yeah, he did. One of the concerning things about it is that he revealed that he wasn't able to accelerate like he wants to, and saying that in the press conference. Matter of fact, it wasn't even just him. It was Doc Rivers as well. He mentioned it, saying that in the press conference.
It was like his Achilles or something.
Why would you say that? Now the Pacers know that Damian Lillard is not 100%.
Yep, they know he's food.
So you just gave up that secret, and the Pacers, I said this was going to go to 7. I still believe it's going to go to 7. But now I'm a bit concerned because of Damian Lillard's help. I expected Damian Lillard, he's going to be healthy the entire series, and now he's not. So I don't know how that's going to go. They were in a dogfight. They were able to come back. If Chris Middleton keeps playing like he did yesterday, they got a hell of a chance. I mean, 42 points, hitting clutch shot after a clutch shot. They have a hell of a chance, but I don't see him replicating that. Tyrese Halliburton cooked Patrick Beverley at the end, that crossover. Patrick Beverley, I thought you were locked down. I thought you would be locking people down, but you getting cooked on that final play like that. I mean, my God. Just looking at his stats.
Halliburton did not play that good.
He hasn't played. I mean, 18 points, 16 assists, 10 rebounds. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well. He was 1 for 12 from 3. But, damn, he had an all-around showing. Aaron Naismith, he hit a huge shot for them. Pascal Siakam, he played. He's actually been pretty good for them against the Bucks so far. And Obi Toppin came off the bench, gave him 15. This series is going to depend on Damian Lillard's health. If Damian Lillard is not able to replicate Game 1 and parts of Game 2, then they're going to lose. Yeah. I don't think Giannis is coming back.
It might be in his best interest to not come back at this point.
I think if I'm Giannis, I'm sitting out.
I see that writing on the wall. I'm like, yeah, this.
I think if I'm Giannis, I'm sitting out. I'm seeing how the team plays without him, and if they're able to win the series without him, then I'll be like, all right, I'll come back. Because again, I think he had a similar injury to the Kevin Durant injury.
Yeah, calf injury. Yeah.
So like, you have to be careful with that. If I'm Giannis, I'm taking
especially with Giannis' play style. I wouldn't even risk it.
I'm taking it week by week. But yeah, it's not looking too good for the Bucks right now. They're down 2-1. They have another game in Indiana. Dame Lillard is hurt. It's not looking too good for them. It might be a
wrap for them.
Might be a wrap for them, man. Let's go to the Timberwolves versus Suns game. This has
been an embarrassing display for the Phoenix Suns.
This has been a very shocker for them because I expected more from the Phoenix Suns. I knew that the Suns weren't going to win the series, but I expected more from them. I expected them to be more competitive because
they ain't got no heart. Like they just it doesn't even look like the Timberwolves are trying for real. It's like they playing around with them out there.
It does. Like Ant is getting whatever he wants.
It's like and even when they're down, even though they don't be down big, it still feels like they in control of the game. It's crazy. Until that super team stuff is finished, I've been saying it for years. I don't know why they thought this was the year it was going to work.
I'll say this about the Suns because before the season started, I looked at it and I was like, it makes no sense. Not just because of them bringing in Bradley Beal, but the coach that they hired, like Frank Vogel. That's the coach you're gonna hire? Like he's not the right coach for a team constructed like that. He needs a team like what the Knicks have, where you have a bunch of guys that'll get down on the chair and guard their man, tough-minded, they'll block a shot, whatever it is. They'll do all of the little things. This team right here is mostly offense. Very dependent on an offensive end, and they needed a offensive-minded head coach. They decided to go Frank Vogel. I don't understand that at all. And look at the situation. It's just They don't have a system. Like I don't know what their scheme is. Like they just one-on-one ball.
They playing playground basketball.
I remember Gilbert Arenas talked about it. He was like, one of the problems with the Phoenix Suns is you look at Devin Booker, you look at Bradley Beal. Like Bradley Beal, he's at the 2, but he's trying to play like a 1. Devin Booker is at the 1, but he's trying to play like a 2. Like they haven't figured out that chemistry. And we brought this up before the season started that this was going to be a concern. And it still is. Like, everything that we said before the season started has transpired. I've always heard, these guys, they're hoopers and they'll figure it out. I'm like, they tried that in Brooklyn. It didn't work. Now they're doing it again with less talent and it's not working. So this whole mentality of, they're hoopers, they're going to figure it out. They don't need a point guard. Yes, they do. It takes 5 men to win, not 3. And it takes guys to accept their role if you want to win a championship. And I looked at these dudes, and I'm like, they're very similar. They're too similar. And for them to do that, like, Devin Booker, he could play the 1. Like, no, that's not who he is. He's a scorer. He is a scorer. And for all those people, the ball don't stops. And all these other guys who look at it like, they're the best one-on-one team. It doesn't always come down to one-on-one. You have to have a system in place. Look at Denver. Denver, when they played us, they kept running the same play over and over again. They weren't just going one-on-one. They were relying on cuts, relying on screens, relying on off-ball action. That's how you win. You don't just win off of one-on-one play. And that's why I never believed in the Suns. That's why I always thought they were frauds, because I knew they were going to do the exact same thing. Kevin Durant was going to do the exact same thing he did in Brooklyn and bring it to Phoenix. And lo and behold, they're going to go out in the first round.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, this is Kevin Durant just seems to find himself in these offensive systems where they play playground basketball and where the offense pretty much cook your man. In OKC, Scott Brooks was running that offense. When he went to the Warriors, they finally had a system, and we see how good KD looked then. And then he went Brooklyn, cook your man offense. Then he's back Phoenix, cook your man offense, and it's just not working.
I also look at it from this perspective. The ownership also plays a part in this. I'm not saying like it's the worst ownership in the world, But you look at Brooklyn, you look at Phoenix, these guys, I'm not gonna say they don't know what they're doing, but there's times where I feel like they're too desperate.
They blew up a championship team, a finals team core for no reason.
Like they're too impatient. They're like, oh, we're gonna microwave this. Like you gotta let things marinate. You gotta let things, sit for a little bit before you just automatically.
Imagine if the Nuggets blew up their core after they lost to the Lakers in the bubble.
Right. And the think about this, because the Nets, when they brought in KD and Kyrie, that was a perfect situation. Like they had the role players, they had the complementary pieces in place to support the two dudes. But then they were like, you know what? F it. Let's go after James Harden. Let's build a big three, So we feel like there's no competition. And that was a huge mistake. And I feel like that was the beginning of the downfall of the big three of the super team era, was when Brooklyn decided to get rid of the Jared Allen, the Karis LeVert, those type of dudes who are necessary pieces to win a championship for a James Harden. And that was when the super team era started to fade. And now we're in a era where we have a Nuggets sort of situation. Golden State won a championship, even though, they still had Clay and Draymond, but they weren't the same level as they were back in 2016, where they were all, but they built it organically. So they were,
Bucks
they had
too.
a role. Yeah, Bucks as well. So
even the teams that went to the finals.
So
look at the Celtics.
Yeah, this microwave sort of, we're gonna bring in three guys, star players together, and then we're gonna build a championship. Like that was the beginning of the downfall of it, was Brooklyn experiment. And this might be, I've heard people say this is the worst super team ever. It might be. I don't think I can count the Lakers with Russ, because
that wasn't no super team.
Russ was like, he wasn't that same dog. He wasn't the same guy as he was in Houston and OKC. So I don't think I could really count that as a super team. I think this is definitely the worst super team.
The Suns are screwed too, because ain't nobody coming to play for them for $2.
Yeah, and then you have Bradley Beal's contract. Who wants to trade for Bradley Beal?
No,
nobody wants to trade for Bradley Beal.
Bradley Steele. I tried to tell Wizards fans tried to tell everybody. They ain't want to hear it. We was like, Bradley Beal is not who y'all think he is, and people are like, no, Bradley. Okay, you let them points per game fool you if you want to. That man contributes absolutely almost nothing come playoff time, and as you can see, it still holds true.
The only thing the Wizards have done in these past few years is trade away all-star players that are on the decline. So that's the only good thing the Wizards have done, and they still haven't capitalized on it. They still haven't drafted
it's a work in progress,
well enough.
Work in progress.
So if you want to give credit to the organization for the Wizards, is that they know when it's time to move a star player. So good for them. I mean, they overpay for these players when they re-sign them, but they damn sure figure out a way to trade them. They figured out a way to trade Russ. They figured out a way to trade Bradley Beal. So salute to the Wizards. That's all I got to say. I mean, I don't know how they do it.
We got off that Hashimura packing. We see he's stinking up the joint now too.
I mean, let's be fair. Like, first of all, last year in the playoffs, he was pretty solid for us. It's just against the Nuggets, he just, for whatever reason, he just folds under pressure. But I mean, we got him for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So that was a deal. Anywho, yeah, the Suns. I really want the Timberwolves to make the finals. Like, I really want them to make the NBA finals.
I would like to see Ant-Man in the finals.
I would really love, like, that Timberwolves versus Nuggets series is gonna be all time.
I wish it wasn't second round.
I know, right? That really, see, that's why they gotta handle the business in the regular season and like make sure that you get the number 1 seed. But they didn't have Cat, so they weren't in a position, like, they were very limited. And then Rudy Gobert was out for some games. Mike Conley was out for some games.
And just so happens OKC was able to maintain.
Yeah, I think, again, I said this before, but I think whoever whoever wins between the Mavs and the Clippers, whoever meets with OKC in the second round, they're going to the conference finals. So I think Mavericks are going to go to the conference finals.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. But anywho, Lakers Thursday. I wasn't excited at all about this game. I was too busy watching the draft.
Yeah, everybody's watching the draft. What?
My thing with this team, I knew it was over after game 2. I didn't think they were going to win the series at all. We talked about it.
That was like a knockout punch.
Yeah,
like, it was done.
Yeah, that was like
That's like a soul stealing loss right there.
that was like Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney.
Yeah.
That's what that was. Like,
That was just like, man, like how do you even recover from that?
You-
I'm surprised
you don't.
LeBron didn't break down on the court when that shot went in.
you don't. So like the press conference with Anthony Davis, I just looked at it, I was like, yeah, we're gonna get swept. Like, we're gonna lose Saturday. Like, I was texting the group chat. I was like, hey, it's over. Like,
Yeah,
Saturday,
he did
it's
say that.
over. Guys were like, oh no, y'all gonna win a game. I'm like, no, it's over. Like, Saturday comes around, that's it. No more Darvin Ham. Like, it's over. So
It's crazy how bad D'Lo scammed y'all again.
yeah, and see the thing with D'Lo, he was like, oh, he was so mad about his market, and look what's happening again. You're proving all the team's points that in
When
the
chips are
playoffs,
down,
when it's time to like win, when you're trying to win, like really win a championship, you're just not that guy. Like, you're not a dude that you can be on a championship team. If you're like the third option, you're not going to win with him.
no.
He has to be the fourth or fifth option if you want to win a championship. Just like with
If
Russell
he
Westbrook.
couldn't pan out in Golden State, we should have been knew something was wrong.
Exactly. So for him to do what he did last game, eating on the sideline,
Yeah, not in
being
the huddle.
That's just a bad sign. And I think for him to do that, he really just
He doesn't get it.
he doesn't understand it at all. He's really in his own head. This guy, like, I was rooting for him too. We drafted him in 2015, but he just doesn't get it. He just doesn't understand, and that's why he can never. Whenever he plays the Nuggets, he just folds under pressure. He just doesn't get it, and he doesn't take the situation seriously, and ultimately, he's not going to come back. I doubt he's going to get the money that he wants, but he's not going to come back, especially if Darvin Ham is still there. I doubt he'll be here, but regardless.
Shoot, Reeves was stinking up the joint too.
Yeah, but at least he's out there
Yeah.
trying. At least he cares. Like, he was freaking disappointed. He was with Phil Handy all sad and stuff. So that just lets me know, like, this loss really hurt him. So I really like Reeves. I want him to be with the Lakers for the future, because he actually really cares. Although he does make mistakes, he at least tries. He actually is putting in effort. D'Angelo Russell on the other end, I'm kind of done with him. I really am. Like, he's a nice regular season player, but in the postseason, he's not locked in.
It's crazy how much better Mike Conley is in the playoffs compared to Mike Conley's like 37 or something.
Yeah, Mike Conley is a winning player. He's been in the playoffs multiple years. He's beaten San Antonio, the
That is
Memphis
true.
Grizzlies. Like, he's done some things in the playoffs where you look at him and say, okay, he knows how to win. He knows how to play in the biggest of games. While with D'Angelo Russell, that's just not him. He's just not that guy, and he'll probably go to like a team like Atlanta who's not winning, and he'll put up some points. He'll put up his 18 and 20, but when you need him in the biggest of games, he's just not going to show up for you, and that's just the way it is. That's why he's been traveling around, going to team after team, is because these teams are tired of him. He's tired. They're tired of the BS. They're tired of the nonsense that comes with him, and he seems like a cool dude, but you have to be serious. Like, it's all about winning at the end of the day. And if you're not going to be all in, if you're not going to be locked in, then I'm sorry. Like, you got to go. And it is what it is. I look at the Lakers, and obviously Darvin Ham, he's a big part of why we're losing. But you have to also look at, guys like D'Angelo Russell, guys like Roy Hachimura. Yeah, I mean LeBron, he could play a little bit better, help defense as well. But for the most part, Darvin Ham, like he's just not the coach for this team. That's just how it is. All these people that are clamoring, oh, let's bring back Vogel. Like, no, like stop it. He's not good. The buck stops at the front office. The front office is the reason why we're in predicament. Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, Luke Walton. They hired Luke Walton. They hired Frank Vogel. They hired Darvin Ham. All whiffs. All whiffs. And all these people, the Stephen A's, all these other people that are defending Darvin Ham, talking about, oh, he's doing a good job. Draymond. Y'all can go to hell because, oh, they won 47 games. They won in spite of Darvin Ham.
They should have won 50 games.
Oh, if they didn't face the Nuggets, they would be they'd be playing well against other teams.
I think the Timberwolves would have walked on y'all too.
I agree with you. Let me tell you something. Even if we can beat every other team, we're going to have to face the Nuggets eventually. They're going to be standing in our way. They're the best team in basketball. So that whole argument about, well, if they face any other team, they will be fine. That's cool, but you have to face the Nuggets eventually. And I am so glad we faced the Nuggets in the first round because we're able to see everything about the Lakers. We're not going to be fooled. And
on the Summer Jam screen.
Like last year, remember? Like they went on that run against the Memphis Grizzlies without Steven Adams and Brandon Clark. We faced the Golden State Warriors. We already know the whole Jordan Poole situation. Klay Thompson, he's not as good as he once was. So it was a pretty easy run to the Western Conference Finals. And then we met the Nuggets and we got exposed.
Yeah.
This year, it's the same thing. Just because you win 47 games doesn't mean your team is that great. You had a pretty solid, but we were in the play-in. We got very fortunate that Zion got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of luck that came into it. So all these people that are trying to praise Darvin Ham for what he's done, I disagree. They're saying, oh, I can't think of a coach that would improve the situation. I can. There's plenty of coaches that improve this situation because not all of it has to do with the personnel. A lot of it has to do with your substitution patterns, the schemes, the offense that you run, the sets that you run, the timeouts, the challenges. Game 2 was a perfect example of why Darvin Ham should not be the coach anymore.
Yeah, to blow a 20-point lead and essentially freeze out your best player.
He had 2 timeouts left, didn't use them. He had a challenge, didn't use them.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like that's incompetence, and that's why he shouldn't be the coach anymore of the Los Angeles Lakers. They would have, like a Nick Nurse, he probably would have used a timeout there. Like there's plenty of coaches.
In that second game, didn't the Nuggets only have like 2 timeouts going into the fourth?
I can't remember.
Or something like that. And I was like, where'd they timeouts go? And I was like, watch they still mess around, win the game.
I can't remember, but ultimately, like Darvin Ham, like when I look at this team, like there's no mental toughness, there's no mental edge. There's like whenever the Nuggets went on a run, they panic, they turn the ball over, they go one-on-one ball. That comes down to Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham, you've seen the videos on Twitter where he was on the sideline, not even drawing up plays, doodling. So what? He looking like me in arts and crafts class trying to figure out what to draw. Seriously, like he looks lost. Anthony Davis not even listening to him. Austin Reeves. This is in the regular season, but like even in the playoffs, I seen a video of Anthony Davis not looking at him. So you can't have that. You can't have that as a head coach, and they've made that mistake over and over again. I don't care what anybody says. Draymond talk about, oh, you can't criticize a black man. Black man, get out of here, bro. Get out of here with that. Because Doc Rivers has made some just egregious mistakes. And did anybody come to Doc Rivers' defense?
Nope.
Besides Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. Like, come on, man. Get out of here with that, bro. Get out of here with that. I've heard so many players criticize Doc Rivers. And did Draymond all of a sudden say, you're wrong? I remember JJ. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, the front office, there needs to be a change with this team. Like, Rob Pelinka needs to go. I don't think he's going to go, though, which is, like, God damn it. Darvin Ham needs to go, and you need to, like, get rid of D'Angelo Russell. You got to bring in some pieces. Anywho.
It might just be time. Listen, the LeBron era was cool. Y'all got a ring out. It's just over.
No, it's not.
It's over.
You know what I hate?
It's over.
You know what I hate?
Just y'all delaying the inevitable. Just rip the Band-Aid
You know what
off.
I hate? I hate people like you who think that
build around AD.
I hate people like you who think that LeBron and AD can't win a ring together.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the way that your team is being unserious at this point, you might as well just cut your losses while you can.
No. Here's the problem with the team. Because they
Opium.
actually are building around Anthony Davis. Because Anthony Davis has been the best player for this team. The problem is that the coaching is terrible. There's no two-way players. They traded away the two-way players. Like, the only two-way players we have is LeBron and Anthony Davis. There's no other two-way players. Roy Hashimaru's not a two-way player. Austin Reeves not a two-way player. D'Angelo Russell's not a two-way player. Gabe Vincent's not a two-way player. Jared Vanderbilt's not a two-way player. Jackson Hayes is not a two-way player. Cam Reddish not a two-way player. We don't have no two-way players. We traded away Alex Caruso, KCP, Kyle Kuzma. Obviously Rondo, he left. He got old. But we traded away all our two-way players for Russell Westbrook. And whose fault is that? That's Rob Pelinka's fault. Stupid stuff like that. Our team is built like a 2013, 2014 team. Back then, you didn't need necessarily a bunch of two-way players to win a championship. Case in point, the San Antonio Spurs. They had Kawhi and they had Tim Duncan. Everybody else was specialists. Tony Parker wasn't a two-way player. Manu Ginobili, he could play some defense, but he wasn't known as a two-way player. You had Patty Mills, you had Tiago Splitter, you had Boris Diaw. Like, all those guys were not two-way players, and they still won a championship because back then you didn't necessarily need a whole bunch of two-way players to win. Now you need a bunch of two-way players to win. Boston has two-way players everywhere. The Nuggets have two-way players. Timberwolves definitely have two-way players. Clippers have two-way players. OKC
Knicks
has two-way players. Knicks have two. You need two-way players. We don't have two-way players. That's not LeBron. That's not Anthony Davis's fault. That is upper management not doing their job, not identifying play like the draft. Rob Pelinka missed out on Cam Whitmore and Jaime Jaquez.
Yeah.
Come on now, and he's from UCLA, so he was right there. You saw him. He was literally right there, and you decide, I'm gonna go with this guy out of Indiana, a point guard, and then I'm going to sign Gabe Vincent, the same position that he plays. That's the problem. That's the problem with this team. It's not LeBron and Anthony Davis' fault. They're playing great. They're actually, listen, LeBron and Anthony Davis has been the second and third best player in the series. Jamal Murray has not shot the ball well. He didn't shoot the ball last game. He didn't shot the ball well game 2. Game 1, he was
in game 1.
He hasn't shot the ball well. But when your role players don't show up, the Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russells, the Roy Hashimaras, the Gabe Vincents, the Spencer Dinwiddies, the Jackson Hayes. I mean, Taurean Prince has been the best role player for us. That's a problem.
That's a win in Darvin Ham's book.
LeBron and Anthony Davis have done their job. They have combined for over 50 points. That's what you need from your duo. But everybody else has not shown up. And that's the problem with this team, is that we have dudes that are not ready for the big stage. They're not ready to go up against the championship team like the Nuggets. They keep getting pumped.
And you think y'all just going to fix that in one off season? With this front office that you just claimed was inept?
I just think we have no other choice but to try to fix it because this front offense hasn't shown that they can do a full-on rebuild. So why would I just start saying let's just take the Band-Aid off when this front office hasn't showed that they can do a full-on rebuild? I would stand pat with LeBron and Anthony Davis and figure out a way.
Hope. That's what's up.
Figure out a way to do something. I think what they need to do is, and it will fix them a lot, is get rid of Rob Pelinka. That's the big element in the room. That's the big thing they need to do is get rid of him, bring in Bob Myers. But they're not going to do that because Jeannie Buss is too much. She values too much relationships and having friends around her. You know what I mean? And it's not because she's a woman. See, a lot of these people I've seen in the comment section, and all you people, hey, I'll block your ass if you bring up misogynistic, sexist comments about Jeannie Buss. Oh, because she's a woman, that's why the team sucks. Don't bring that up. Don't bring that in there. And by the way, they won a championship with her as the owner. So don't bring that up. Oh, because she's a woman. I don't want to hear that shit. It's not because she's a woman. It's because she just values too much people's friendships and all the other stuff. They won a championship with her as the owner, as the overseer. So I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that at all. It's just bad. The GM is just terrible. He's just terrible. It's just plain and simple. I'm tired of that dude. And if they're able to get rid of him, then I feel like, and they bring in like a Bob Myers, then we'll have something. But I don't see that happening. Anywho, I don't want to speak too much about this. Let's go to the other games real quick. Magic versus Cavaliers. This game right here, the Cavaliers. Oh my God! Like I don't understand this series at all. Like this is such a strange series to me because the Cavaliers smoked the Magic at home. Right? They went up 2-0, and then they went to the Magic's home arena, and they get smoked by nearly 40.
Yeah. I don't know what the heck is going on. Paolo was giving them everything they wanted and needed.
I just don't understand this. I haven't watched a single game from the series. I'm not gonna hold you.
I haven't. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not even gonna fake the funk. I have not watched.
Donovan Mitchell had 13 points. You're not gonna win a game with Donovan Mitchell scoring 13 points. Evan Mobley had 10 points and 2 rebounds.
When your leading scorer is Jared Allen and Karis LeVert, something is seriously wrong.
Paolo had 31 and 14 rebounds, 13 for 26 shooting. Yeah, I mean they had a good showing from their bench too. Yeah, they had a good showing from their bench too. I'm not really feeling this series. I mean, if it goes to 7 games, I'll probably watch it, but it's like vanilla. It's like it's there. I mean, I could watch it, but not really. Knicks versus 76ers. This is an interesting series because
this is a super controversial series.
Very controversial. Embiid, he dropped 50 the last game. Salute to Embiid. He's pretty much playing on one leg. He also has
like
that
Bell's palsy,
which is crazy. See, Embiid, he's like a big what if. I think Stephen A. talked about. He's like, if Embiid was healthy, he would be in conversations with like being one of the best, like being the best big, arguably the best big ever. And I agree with that.
Maybe he needs to stop flopping his body all over the damn place and play normal and play basketball like a normal person that's 7 foot tall.
Man, I agree with you. It's just, 50 points. Jesus Christ. But I said the series is going to go to 7.
I said 7, I think. Or 6.
Jalen Brunson had a really good game. This is his first really good game of the series. He had 39 points, but they lost. But yeah, Embiid, he had 50. It was still a relatively close game. He had to have 50 in order for them to win. That's a little concerning. Tyrese Maxey had 25. Tyrese Maxey has been pretty good for the series. Kelly Oubre has been really good for them as well this series. Tobias Harris, 8 points. Good God. Oh, Lord.
That what he pulled though in that game, Embiid, that's just ridiculous.
Oh, you talking about
when he pulled Mitchell Robinson? Like, come on, he should have got ejected for that.
He should have got ejected.
Draymond has got kicked out for less.
Yeah, he got away with that one. He's very fortunate he got away with that one. I'm not too concerned with the Knicks because a lot of the guys, like their starting lineup, I'm looking at a lot of these dudes, like they showed up. I mean, OG showed up, Hartenstein showed up, not Hartenstein showed up. Jalen Brunson, he was phenomenal. Josh Hart was phenomenal. DiVincenzo, he had a stinker. He had 5 points. I think their bench didn't play particularly well. I mean, McBride had 8, but their bench wasn't that good. But the starters, they did their thing for the most part. I don't think the 76ers, the way that they're playing, I don't think it's
not sustainable
because Embiid going for 50 and he's dealing with all those injuries. I just don't think it's sustainable. I know they're at home. They're going to need to get more production from Tobias Harris and Nicholas Batum and Buddy Hield. Those are the guys.
They had Buddy Hield.
Those are the guys they need production for. If they can't get production from those dudes, I just don't think this will be sustainable. I don't even think they'll go to 7 unless they get more production from those guys. So that's just the way I'm looking at it from this series. It's been a very entertaining series. It's been close in every game so far. So that's all you want from a playoff series, to have it be close, to have it being competitive, to go down the wire. They nearly won last game if things went their way, but they screwed that up at the final 30 seconds when I think Jalen Brunson hit that miraculous shot, and then was it DiVincenzo that hit that 3?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, sometimes things like that, just unfortunate things like that happen. Oh yeah, this one right here very surprised me. Miami versus Boston. This one, man, what? Because I wasn't watching the game at all until the very end.
Yeah, me either.
Like when I heard entering the fourth that Miami was up as many points, I was like, let me turn this on real quick. And I was completely shocked at how just vulnerable the Celtics were against the Miami Heat without Terry Rozier and without Jimmy Butler.
The Heat got on the Celtics, but man,
it's just like they just have that dog in them, bro. Like Miami, they're resilient. They're not scared of nobody. They have a top 2 coach in the NBA. Mike Malone and Eric Spoelstra are the best 2 coaches in the NBA. I don't want to hear anybody else say, oh, there's a better coach than them. No, they are the top 2 coaches in the NBA. It's not even close. And it's just they keep doing it again. Getting red hot from 3. I'm like, here we go again. Like last year, what was it? Caleb Martin. Here we go. And then they find dudes that I've never heard of, and they play well. I'm like, who is this dude? Well, hold on. Let me look at this box score real quick, because this is funny. They have Nikola Jokic. Caleb Martin had 21. Obviously, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero. Bro, Highsmith? Like, who?
I heard of Highsmith before.
Like 3
Alex
for 5?
Highsmith? Is that his name? Alex Highsmith?
No. It's Haywood Highsmith.
I'm thinking of the daggone football player,
bro. Haywood he was 3 for 5 from 3. I'm seeing him hit some shots in the fourth quarter. I'm like, who? They be just having dudes come out of nowhere just scoring, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And that just goes to show, like, coaching can go a long way. And the type of players you bring in, like, they may not be the most talented, but their mentality goes a long way. And it seems like Miami, they bring in, like, certain players, and you plug them in right away, and it doesn't matter the situation. They're ready to go. And they just find ways to scrap out victories, even against the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Tingus Pingus had a bad game.
I'm just like Boston. I'm disappointed, bro. Like Jason Tatum, he had he was 10 for 20, but in that fourth quarter, he was a no-show. I didn't see much of Jason Tatum. Porzingis was awful.
Drew Holiday, 4
ass.
for 12.
He's been trashed this entire series. Like, he's been god awful. Jaylen Brown, he had 33 points.
Like, they not getting no production off the bench.
And that was the biggest concern of it all, was the bench scoring. When they traded for Porzingis and they got Drew Holiday, remember they had to give up some pieces now. And they were like, all right, they're top heavy. They don't have a traditional style point guard. And what's the bench looking like? They have Pritchard. I mean, they started liking Sam Hauser, but he's still limited. And Al Horford, he's getting up there in age. So they have only 3 dudes they could really rely on and they didn't play well last game. Al Horford had 6 points. Sam Hauser had 6 points. And Peyton Pritchard, he had a donut. And everybody else was a DNP. They played 8 guys. And they had 12 points off the bench. It's going to be very hard to win games like that.
Yeah.
Unless your starting 5 produces to what you expect. Like Drew Holiday and Porzingis, they have to play outstanding basketball.
And the Heat, their bench players aren't going to put up a bunch of points, but they play damn defense.
Exactly. Yeah, they do the little things. And Eric Spoelstra, he's great when it comes to dialing up plays. His scheme, it just seems very conducive for players that aren't very talented. You know what I mean? So like they can plug and play different players and they'll be just fine. While with Boston, it's a lot of one-on-one ball. Like it's man, they just don't have those dogs. Where's the leadership? Where's the flow of the offense? It's too much freelancing. It's too much relying so much on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. This was the concern coming in. I still think they're going to win the series because they don't have Jimmy Butler. If they had Jimmy Butler, it'd be a different story.
Yeah,
it would look real scary. I probably still would have gotten Boston in like 7, but I would have been like, yo, they could lose the series. And without Jimmy Butler, I don't think Miami has a shot. But I just love that they were able to steal a game in
makes it a
in
little
Boston.
more interesting.
Yeah, so now they play tonight.
Yep.
I'm gonna be locked in.
6:00, I believe.
I'm gonna be locked in because I really want to see how Boston's gonna bounce back. Are they going to be disciplined? Are they gonna make sure that everybody is involved? That they're not just playing one-on-one ball. That they're moving the ball around. That they're getting guys open shots. That they're being unselfish. That they're not just relying on 2 dudes to create everything for them.
Exactly.
I really want to see if Boston Celtics are mentally tough enough to go into Miami and to bounce back from an embarrassing loss. I can't wait to see that.
They better, or they gonna be some deep doo-doo.
The final matchup is the Thunder versus Pelicans. This series is pretty much lost cause. I expected Thunder to win this series. No Zion Williamson. CJ McCollum has been god awful this series.
Brandon Ingram, man, what a disappointment.
We already mentioned this before, but I mentioned how like this team, they have a lot of really good pieces, but the top 2 guys on your team are not reliable. Brandon Ingram is just not reliable. Like, he is a dude that he reminds me like a Rudy Gay, where he was drafted high and you expected so much from him, but he was never able to reach his potential. Like, he'll get you 20 points, but he's not going to drop a 50 piece. He's not going to carry a team. He's not going to make enough plays to win you games. I just don't think he has the mentality. I don't think he has that dog in him to where he can put the team on his back. You can put everything on his shoulders and he'll deliver. I don't think he has that in him. I don't think he has that mentality. And it takes a special person to have that type of mentality. I just don't think he has it. And like, I love Herb Jones. I like Jonas Valanciunas. I like Trey Murphy. They have pieces. I mean, Alvarado, he's a really nice piece. Like, they've done Jordan Hawkins, although he's not really playing. I like him as well. Like, they have a lot of dudes that they drafted, that they traded for, that they signed undrafted. They have a lot of guys that work well. It's just the top 2 dudes are just not able to lead that team to the promised land. And they're going to have to make a decision after the season. Do they stand pat with these 2 guys or they trade one of them?
I think you got to get rid of B.I.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. He just hasn't gotten better. honestly.
And it just seems like those two dudes together, I don't think, like, just the way that they play with one another, I don't think it's a good duo. I don't think they play particularly well when they're both on the floor together. You know, so I think there's a bit of I feel like they keep stepping over each other too much. I think it's better for them to go in. I think it's better for them to split apart, go to different teams. I don't know where that is for Brandon Ingram. I would like Brandon Ingram maybe a situation where they need a wing scorer. I think New York would be a good place for him. Although I don't know if Tom Thibodeau would like his mentality too much. That's the thing. That's the thing about it. But whoever needs a wing scorer, I think he'll be good for them. I just don't think New Orleans is the place for him and the way that he's playing. I really like Zion. Like, the way Zion has really shown me this year that if he locks in, if he really puts in the work, that he can become that franchise guy for you. It's just unfortunate he got injured during the Lakers game. And that's because he took his nutrition seriously during the season. What if you took it seriously before the season? During the off season? What would have happened? So, yeah. OKC, I think this game is pretty much, the series is pretty much washed. And that's that, really. Is there anything else you want to talk about with the NBA playoffs? I mean, the Cavs and the Magic playing right now. Yeah. But yeah, like, is there anything else you want to talk about when it comes to NBA playoffs, man?
No, not really. The real playoffs ain't until the second round, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. We'll just have to. It's like 4 games going on today. Just a jam-packed. All right, man. Well, I think I'll do on today's episode of Courtside Beat Podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials as well, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of Courtside Beat Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.
Just let me be. That's the only way I know. Just let me be.